Welcome to the Blue Room post-match for Man City 2, Everton 0. I'm joined by Dave Down. It's just me and you today, Dave, to go through that one. And I don't think there's too much to talk about, really. We did well for an hour, and then it was pretty routine for City. As defeats to City go, I would probably take that. Not saying I'm happy with the defeat, but I think if you're going to get beat by City, I think to hold them out for more than an hour, they don't have a single shot on target. They only have 2 on target all game, I think. Something like that. It's, look at the numbers like that. It was a decent display against just a relentless football team in Man City, I think. That's my take. What was yours?
Yeah, I think you're right. To go into a little bit more detail with it, I mean, I think that first half was as comfortable defensively as I've seen a team against them all season. I think we have to be given a lot of credit for that. I think as compact you have to play against this side, home or away, especially when you're the side like us at this moment in time. You're only getting the teams who are in the top 3 or 4 these days are going to have a proper go at them. Particularly when they're at home, like an Arsenal, Liverpool, we'll see when they play them in a few weeks' time. I mean, that said, I'm not too sure. Like that Dyche's setup there is as obvious as can be. As most teams when they go there are going to be exactly the same, where you set up 10 men behind the ball as compact as you possibly can be. I think there were some really good performances at times. I thought they were obviously the first choice they had for most of the first half was get it over to Doku. I think Godfrey, for the most part, handled them really, really well. I think he's that good of a player. He's going to get past you at certain points. But I think 2 or 3 times he got past them. But other than that, I thought Godfrey was really good against them. And then even when he got the ball in, I think defensively, we held it quite comfortably. I think the main sort of criticism is, and you'll probably get all sorts with you saying that what you'd expect against Manchester City away, that I've had on social now, is we expected much more from Calvert-Lewin. And probably talk all day about the way he's been for us for such a while, but I think today, of all days, is when you have to include some context here.
Yeah.
And that is not to give him an excuse, but you're playing against. Look at the back four they've got. Look at nobody who gets anywhere near him for 99% of the game. Any striker, and I mean any striker, again, that's outside that top 3 or 4 in the Premier League, you're not going to have any joy. You are not going to have any joy or much joy against these away from home. I think that has to be kept in mind when we're talking about them. Like a lot of people were quite, I think, petty about saying, he didn't hold it up well enough and things like that. I can agree with that. But even if he did so, what's the option? What options he got? You didn't see anyone sprinting outside our sort of side of the pitch because you need to stay as compact as possible against these. You're getting the ball back. So I was a little bit confused to see a lot of reaction about that. I mean, I'd go as far as saying like most people agreed in terms of, yes, we can spend all season criticising that lad, and that's rightly so. We've spoken about it a lot, and Beto's no decent alternative either. But all I've said was today is not the day to keep going, that he's been absolutely shite for as well. I completely agree that he has. Going in your first question about the general, the way in which the game flowed, we had nothing going forward in a link to what Calvert-Lewin frustration was. But the best thing you do against them is get them as much frustration as you possibly can, and that's difficult in itself in terms of making them spread it out wide. I think if you watch that game, you're a City fan, you'd be absolutely pissed off about how frustrated they were against us. I mean, you look at how well we kept as compact as possible. The ball goes out to Doku. He's the only one they refer to. They started playing folded on the opposite side. He does what he does, but they didn't have a shot on target in the whole of that first half. Les, I mean,
it was
how many teams can say
71 minutes the first shot on target when they scored?
Yeah, incredible. That is incredible. And I go as far as saying as anyone else done this season. Look, it's not an achievement, but I think it's a fair example to say how well we did, and what Dyche has done in a game plan, going there, trying to get a draw. You're not going there to win. You try and frustrate them as long as you can. If you get away with a point there, you'd be ecstatic. I think that the performance itself should be something we take away from there. It's a bit of a boost
Yeah,
looking forward. Obviously, that massive game's against Palace next Monday. It's hard to say getting beat 2-0. You can go at it with a bit of confidence, but there'll be a lot of sides to do it. A lot of sides we've already seen go there, do a lot worse than Everton. And that in itself, I think, puts it into your momentum going into the games coming forward as well.
yeah. I mean, to sort of like look on the negative side of everything for a minute, that's the last three. Oh no, we scored goals against Tottenham. But anyway, we're struggling to score goals. That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
The defence seems by and large pretty sound. Jordan Pickford's kept 8 clean sheets this season. The defence looks solid, nice and compact, doing what the manager wants. But it's when it goes to sort of the halfway line, the final third, there's not that creativity in the midfield to like pick a killer pass half the time. Today, like you say, when the ball was getting hoofed up to him, there was quite a few flick-ons he won, where he just flicked that out wide or flicked it down the middle, and there was no one running onto it. Now, I don't know if that comes from the manager and his game plan saying, "We'll just get it up there, you hold it as long as you can." But if it's coming to his head, he can't hold it. He's got to make a decision to just leave it or flick it on. And then that just again invites the pressure back on, because it's constantly coming back, and we held out for 70 minutes, and the goal itself was very disappointing to concede the goal like that. I think Garner just left Haaland. I think Branthwaite was a fault, probably could have cleared it, had a couple of chances to clear it and didn't. But when you're playing that way, you need an outlet, because you can't, especially against City, you can't absorb the pressure for 90 minutes. We did, as I say, we did well to do it for 70, but they are just relentless, because they just keep coming at you, and you can bring on players like Grealish. I think the stat was he cost more than our entire squad, or our entire team at least. And it's like, you've got an uphill battle there, but you need more going forward. It's not enough to just sit and defend, and that's becoming quite a worry now. That
Yeah.
we're not creating chances from open play. There's nothing happening in that final third, really. Or when it does, like against Villa, like against Fulham, we're not capitalising on it, and that's a real worry for me, because we've got Brentford and Palace at home, which will be 2 massive games, but we need to start sorting out our forward play now. And we've created loads of chances, we've not had many shots on target out of those chances, and you can see that's the real issue.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think those 2 games you mentioned there, they're relegation 6-pointers. Let's face it, that's what typically any club that's in the position we are, you're going to say that. I think again, it's important. I keep saying this word, context, but if there's a day when you don't when you go there and do what we've done, I think that 99% of the Premier League go there, expect that. I know you see the odds one where, I don't know, for some reason Palace managed to go there and they end up getting a draw every single time they go there.
Taking 3 past them and everything.
Yeah, exactly, for whatever reason. But yeah, like I said, like most of the Premier League go there and put in a performance like we did. And look, I'm not going to say like that a manager's completely going to say, "Oh, lads, it's not happening here, so just try your best, but we're probably going to lose." But I think most people that go there are going to have that in their minds, that if we need to hold up here as long as we can, if we're going to get any sort of points out of this one against these. And look, I don't want to. I mean, I've done exactly that, but I don't want to put these on a pedestal that's above everybody else. But it is, when we face it,
They are.
What?
They are, though, aren't they?
No, I mean, look at the Haaland stuff there. We kept him really, really quiet first half, and I thought he couldn't get past us. That he wasn't winning any headers when they were thrown in towards him. Thought Tarkovsky and Branthwaite handled him really well whenever he was across our back 4. You do that, and quite obviously he struggles to do that. The thing, what makes him so much different is he's like, what is he? I'm looking at him now. He's like, what is he? 6'5", 6'6" tall, but also lightning quick, but also with feet to like feet to the foot to the best player in the world. If he gets either, there's a way he's going to score in most games, 9 times out of 10 games. So I think you keep that perspective when you're looking at it. But referring to what you were speaking about there in the coming fixtures, Anything today would have been a bonus.
Yeah,
And again, I think most teams say that, certainly in the bottom five, that effectively, well, let's face it, there's four sides going to be in that 18th place. That's the battle, isn't it, to stay above that? Um, Apart from the Palace random one, nobody else is going there and getting anything. So if you look at it in that perspective, there, you lose today, but everybody else is probably going to do so when they go there. And yeah, them two fixtures you've mentioned there, I don't think we take away from this any. It's not negative enough. It's not negative. The thought towards it when you go into these games, you know what I mean. When you
yeah,
go somewhere and you get hammered, you just get completely done in, like 3-4-5-0. You going into your next game, it's massively important, but then also everybody's ass is on the floor thinking, how do we even get over this? And you've got someone
yeah.
like Dice screaming at them all week to sort things out. And it still becomes a lot more difficult to go and get those points. I don't agree with today if anybody said that. I thought there was enough we saw from ourselves, certainly defensively,
Yeah,
that there
absolutely.
should be anything as difficult as playing against my famous last words, like, but anything like going to these, um, you just have to keep your mind in perspective of who we played today. I mean, like I said, everyone on my Twitter's giving me all sorts of saying, just keep in mind who Calvert-Lewin's playing against. Take that away from the fact that I completely agree. He's been shite for what? He hasn't scored in 17, 20 games in the Premier League, something like that.
West Ham, wasn't it? When he came back, his
Yeah,
comeback game, West Ham, that was it.
yeah. Fair enough. I have a go with him all the time there because he's meant to be a Premier League striker. That is, and a lot of people now saying he's only ever had one good season for us in terms of scoring goals. Fair comment if you're criticising him for that. Fair comment if you're criticising him for home games in particular, when he is actually getting chances to score goals.
Yeah.
Today he's not the one. Today,
No, it's not.
there's no defence of him because he just didn't have anything with him. And
Yeah.
the other side, sorry to bang on about it, but the other side of what he had there, McNeil was anonymous. Harrison had most of the ball than anybody else, I think. And again, what's he supposed to do? We ended the game with a combined age of 73 years old at right back and right wing.
Right.
Yeah. So, what are you expecting going here? And look, it's heartbreaking to have that sort of thought and attitude towards going here, because it shows you how far away we are from any sort of success like that side. But yeah, I mean, and the midfield as well. I don't even remember James Garner touching the ball, by the way.
No,
So
the only time I realised he was playing was when he put it out for the corner that they scored off the second corner. I hadn't even seen him all game
no,
until then.
yeah, exactly. It was. Again, you can go back to the subs from Dyche, and I think I've been a massive complainer towards that. He seems to ever do anything after 70. Unless the results look different. They didn't score till after 70, and that's when he makes
Yeah.
a change. But the reference to that is, look at the bench we've got. So massively frustrating, but like you said, Les, it's hard to completely start like criticising them, overly criticising them.
Yeah.
And the squad we've got, the team are putting out versus what they've got.
I think one of the commentators actually said something about what Pep Guardiola's got available to him. It was like, are you kidding me? um,
Yeah,
but I think in a game like that, when you're defending like that, you either need a piece of magic like Damari Gray did
yeah,
when we drew 1-1 there, or you need any slight chance that you get, you need to be on the end of it. And I think the criticism of Calvert-Lewin for me today was there was one time when McNeil got the ball. I think they gave it away in the middle of midfield.
yeah,
McNeil got the ball. He knocked it across the 6-yard box, and Calvert-Lewin held his run back. Now, we would
yeah.
never have been offside because the right back would have played him onside, and the ball was probably getting played backwards or straight across anyway, so you can't be offside. And he checked his run. Now it's like, why don't you just get ahead of your centre back there? Because
Yeah.
it's things like that. You're only going to get one chance in a
Is
game
that the
against
same one,
these.
Les? Is that the same one where he decided to take a shot, or did what you said there? You might be referring to the same one
Oh no, that
where
was a different one.
McNeil was charging in on the left. And you're
Yeah,
thinking if he's any mind of presence there,
and he
if
did
he
this weird dink.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, he
that's
tried
yeah,
to
you're
chip
right. Yeah,
Ederson. Yeah, and instead of just
yeah,
getting his head up and playing the ball, no, it was a different one to that. So
right.
there was that one. I'd forgotten about that one. But yeah, the ball broke. I think Doku lost it. It got played through to McNeil, and he whipped the cross across the 6-yard box. And
That's right.
Calvert-Lewin
Yeah.
thought about the penalty spot, and it's like, you've got to be making that run for the tap in. And that, things like that are inexcusable, really. It's not like the game that's going to define him as a player, but he's got to be looking at chances like that and thinking, you've got to be getting on the end of that. There's one thing being out of form and stuff, but you've got to still have that hunger to get that ball. And that, sorry, just leads me on to another point I just thought of. I'm sick of seeing our players shit out of 50-50s.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
second goal, 3 times they lost the ball there, and Branthwaite was dead weak with Haaland as well. But there was 3 times at the edge of their box we lost the ball, challenged, they win the 50-50. And I noticed it against Villa. It was happening a lot as well, particularly with James Garner in that game. And it's like, Dice has got this thing about wear your shinnies for training. And the whole reason you wear your shinnies for training is because you're putting hard tackles in. You're not just dangling a leg because it's your mate. You're playing like it's in a game. But you can't shit out of 50-50s like that. I would be going mad. I go mad at my kids for doing that. I say you can't just do that and put an arm on a player. You can't just dangle your leg in and say that's a tackle. You've got to go for it. And it's disappointing to see our players shit out. I don't know if it's something you've noticed, but it's something that's been doing my head in for a few weeks now.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think, and it's quite ironic, isn't it, given the fact that Sean Dyche is probably renowned most for everybody just throwing himself about physically and trying to win the ball back, and you'll get a yellow card.
Yeah.
You're right with that. I think the only way them chinnies for how they look in training or something, you know what I mean? And that's all right then. And going back to your point there about Calvert-Lewin with charging in front of his defender, I think I've seen him do that quite a lot, where he's not had the presence of mind to instantly think really quickly. You've got to have like half a yard in front of them, and you're the first to get your foot to the ball. 9 times out of 10, it's a goal, because you're not going to pass the keeper who hasn't got a chance when you're that close. When you're near, like, I don't know, penalty spot to the 6-yard box, you've always got an opportunity if you get there first. I actually think McNeil, again, I've had some flaws against him recently, but one of the good things he does is that he whips a good ball in like that, whether it's in for a header or not. And the other side of it with that, I remember quite randomly, do you remember when we played Leeds under Benitez? Away. Yeah. And I think he scored a goal that was identical to what you've just said there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Lean in front of your man, get your foot to it first. You're probably going to score. That today, I think if you're going along the lines of criticism of that lad, I think that's where it mostly goes. You know what I mean? Because I don't think you need to be a striker who's on or off, off form to be that as an excuse that you didn't do that, because that's basic. Is that not basic?
Yeah, it is.
With the lads and all that, you've got a striker there. You're like, it's movement. Just fucking move all the time. Move wherever the ball's heading towards. I don't think that should be difficult for a Premier League striker. So that against these is probably where the only criticism comes from me, given the side you're against. Because if you can do that against a team like that, then you probably should be fine doing it against everybody else. So, he's so frustrating. But look, there's no alternative either. People are saying, you need to try Beto instead. Beto, come on. Scored a belter of a goal, but it just happened to be 25 yards offside.
Is that the most offside the player's ever been? I think it is.
I don't know. His run was hilarious as well.
Why did he run that way?
Someone tries to step back and then make the curved run behind him. And I think he just stood there waiting. And I'm like, mate, you need to stay in line with those lads who are just by the halfway line. And he's standing by the 18-yard box. At least he scored a goal.
It was good finish, like.
That's it. That's the best you get for. But that's the point with Calvert-Lewin. I mean, you can go down all sorts of different paths if you start thinking, well, why is he still playing? What is the alternative? I think we're able to say that so much about certain positions in the side. I thought we'll just go a little bit of positives, Les. I think Jessica was really good again. I thought he's so good at his discipline. I think when he's told to do a particular role. But having said that, that midfield was just anonymous. He'd win the ball back. He'd tackle a lot. And then what you're looking at, Garner, who's anonymous there now. people think we've had a bit of an agenda on him because I know Matt said it originally about Garner, but I'm really in that side of the mentality looking at him because I'm like, what else has he given us here? Um, when he first came, I was really excited because I remember every single fan at Forest were gutted they didn't keep him. But if you remember that was a championship side at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think he's a good player, and like you said with like all the players today, you can't you can't define them on that game. But I think it just comes down to now he's like an automatic pick, really, and
yeah,
that's never good. You know, even if you got players who work that hard, and it's not like they're not the sort of player who'll just like phone it in because they know they're going to get a game next week.
well, it's Harrison, isn't it? Harrison's a perfect example of
Yeah,
that.
but if you're not really getting pushed for your place, it does affect you. It does affect the player. If they know someone's breathing down the neck off, I have a shit game, or I don't
Yeah,
impact this game in any way, I'll be out next week, which he could be because Onana might come back in. I don't know, but it does seem that there's such a lack of options around the whole pitch. I mean, one bright point I suppose is we don't get that from our defenders because they were all brilliant again today.
yeah,
There was that period at the end of the first half where they were all throwing the bodies right on the line, and they do that. The defenders do that. We just don't do it higher up the pitch. And I thought that sort of last 5-10 minutes of the first half kind of summed up Everton defensively because
yeah,
City created like a lot of good openings to shoot. They had about 3 corners, I think, and he didn't get a shot on target still because the defenders were like charging down, making blocks, making tackles, and that's what you need from our defense, and that's what the team's built on, and that's what you need to build a good team on. But there's just not much ahead of it, is there? And it's glaringly obvious in games like today that there's
yeah. I think I mentioned Harrison there as well, and I mean I'm going I'm going to go in on him here because
20
I
million
think
apparently.
he's what
20 million,
is that what we've got to pay for him? Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, mate, I'd probably pay 20 million to get rid of him at the moment, to be honest with you. But again, somebody else who graphs all the time, and probably in comparison to what you mentioned there about Garner, who may be overly critical of him to say that he looks more and more to me like a championship midfielder. I think Harrison, you can see exactly why Leeds didn't mind letting him go on loan. Because if I've got a friend who's a massive Leeds fan who said they were devastated that he left because they were relegated, he'd be a massive part of them
Yeah,
perhaps getting back up. And that shows you, I think, in a bit of a nutshell, that that's what kind of player he is. I think if everybody, to be fair to him, if everybody had the graft that he
oh yeah,
does, I think we'd be in a hell of a better position than we're in right now, just to put it that way. But in terms of quality, the lad, I don't see anything that he does well. He's fine at throwing. The one thing we'd say to him today, where when we had Ashley Young, that's 38-year-old Ashley Young playing against Manchester City, the world champions, not just the champions of Europe or the Premier League champions. You've got 38-year-old Ashley Young playing in front of Ben Godfrey, who most will say, yeah, he's not good enough to play right back. That selection was a bit mad for me. And you had him on for the full 90 as well. I was thinking that it'd be a lot easier if you put, easier for want of a better word, putting him over there in front of Godfrey, and I think you're generally okay there because you'll get him, he'll graft back all the time. That's what he's good at.
yeah.
It's the fact that he's known or is his position is a right midfielder or right winger. What does he do about it? I think his crossing's really poor.
He's so
Um,
left-footed. He's all
yeah,
left foot.
exactly. Yeah, and you're looking at Dobbin there. You just give one of them a chance, and it sort of relates to one of the points me and Matt did on Blue Monday, talking about not necessarily putting out a reserve team in inverted commas against City, but there's a bit of pragmatism there. I think that Dyche could have looked at here and thinking, well, we've got this game against Palace, which is a genuine 6-pointer here. Then the Brentford one.
Yeah,
Look what happened to Godfrey. Looks like he's injured right now. You could have you could have been a little bit more clever about the 11 he put on there. Um, what we've got on the bench is obviously not that much, but look at the Dobbin there. Get him on. Might want to prove himself against City. He'd be loving that because that's the pinnacle of what you're going to get in football, is playing against teams like that. If you
yeah.
really want to make it, throw him in there. Look, they were saying, like, the random thing we said, or the sort of the saying we got was, I'm not saying you want to go there and put the 12-year-old kids out, but I don't think you can put your best 11 out when you've got such a crucial game coming up. And I know it's 9 days away because it's on a Monday night.
Yeah,
He was saying, and which we both agreed on, is that there are certain players there that are crucial to us who you prefer to say, yeah, go and have a few days off, lads. Do you know what I mean? Go and rest yourself, and then get them back into training in midweek or something like that.
yeah. Or even
Go on, sorry.
just give them a go.
Yeah,
Because they've had such limited game time, like even in the cups and that, it's been the same lads. And I think we spoke about this a few weeks ourselves, didn't we? That he's kind of running the same sort of 12, 13 players into the ground every week. And I know the professional athletes, and I know they're all like 20-odd-year-old fellas, but there's lads there who deserve to just get a run out, just give them a go.
yeah,
Just in a game like this, I'm not saying it was dead after that first goal. Um, but it's a good opportunity to change it then.
mhm,
What's the point of keeping Ashley Young on the whole game? As you say,
yeah,
give him the full 90. Why not just put Dobbin on last 20? It's not going to negatively affect the outcome of that game in any way if he plays. And it's a head scratcher, that, and it's very frustrating, really. Because he's coming into that Palace game then, if Dobbin does get any part in that, he's not played for weeks.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
He's
where's
not
the
learning
momentum?
anything.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I think in general at any club, it's a difficulty. I think for certain managers who think, when do we introduce them? You think back to, I remember going as far. This is going off on a bit of a tangent here, but you remember when Rooney first burst onto the scene, and I remember screaming, people alongside me screaming when Moyes played him on the bench for
Yeah,
a after he scored that goal against Arsenal, and you're screaming for him to get on. And as soon as he come on, he'd do something, and everyone's like, "Well, why isn't he starting him all the time? Why is this lad not starting all the time?" And then you look at this today, and obviously it's not similar to having Wayne Rooney to throw on off the bench, but how are you going to recognise these kids are good enough to play for us unless you got to go and play on a match where you 1-0 down? When City in particular will know what they're expecting from the lads who've been on the pitch for most of it.
yeah.
Like, I go back to it. Ashley Young, 38 years old. What's he going to do?
Well, that's,
Kanji or anybody else who goes that side for them,
yeah,
he's not going to do anything. He hasn't got, and rightly so. Whoever's your right back, they're risking the game usually, or them scoring again if they go past them. If Godfrey goes past them, and somebody was moaning like that to me, why didn't we have Godfrey sort of sprinting on the outside of Young? I'm thinking, as soon as they win that back, Doku's
a
standing there
massive
waiting to
hole.
score.
Yeah,
Exactly right. And you can't do that at the right hand side, and that's why I thought, I know Godfrey got injured, but put Seamus there in regards to the way the game was going. That was the sensible change to make. But then, like, go back to, you've got 73-year-old combined right hand side there. It's it's not the sort of thing you're expecting to get a result or even a cross into the box from that side of the team. But obviously the game had gone by then anyway. But I do think Dyche, again, we went hammered for this, Les, weren't we? People saying that we were telling them we wanted them sacked.
get him
We,
out.
again, just to confirm, we are not saying that. But I think today he could have made a change or two there where, even if you think the game's gone, go and have a run out. Go, Dobbin. Go and play against one of the best fullbacks in the world. Let's see how you get on, mate. Have a bit of
Yeah,
confidence about you. Look I go back to it. That goal he scored against Chelsea.
yeah,
That he'd be on over the moon with that, and then I think he come off the bench a couple of times since then.
yeah. That's it.
Just give him a crack at that, and it's particularly when you've got a right winger who's 38 years old, Ashley Young. It's a
Well,
pretty simple decision, isn't it, to say, go on, mate, give him an opportunity. For him to finish 90, quite astonishing, really, especially when we only conceded after 70, didn't we?
yeah,
So
it's
that's
not.
a
And
bad thing.
yeah, it's something. I mean, every manager has those things, don't they? Where you look at it and you go, why are they doing that? But this seems to be it with Dyche. I mean, I'm not saying Ashley Young played particularly badly. He was
No,
no worse than anyone, really. He did all right. But you say to keep him on for 90 minutes is a bit mad.
well,
But
again, it's the essentials thing, isn't it? I mean, do you think we'll be sitting here a week on Monday talking about Ashley Young playing and starting for us? I'm guessing there's probably a high percentage that he does.
I think he will, yeah.
I think you're looking at the same selection as it was, the same as last week. It's been the same this week.
I
Not
think the
sure
I think the only thing that forces him off the team
Yeah,
is the Corey coming back.
yeah.
If the Corey's back, he's not in the team.
Well, Onana as well. I think even though, I mean, again, I might get hammered here, but he's not. I'm not the biggest of fans of his. I still think there's a hell of a lot to come from him. No doubt about that. Him doing that at Everton's a difficult thing for him to do anyway. But certainly today would have been a lot more handy than Garner.
Yeah,
I would like to see what he'd do alongside Gay, who's now back as well. That might be a nice little partnership in the midfield. But you're absolutely right. To Corey playing in that 10 role. Generally, I think he likes to sort of do what he likes there. I don't think you've got Dice going up to him saying, I want you to play in this position. I think he's got a little bit of freedom of where he
yeah,
goes in and around the box, dropping a little bit deeper if he likes to. It's if he's back, I hope he's back. I think he's back training, isn't he? In full training now. So you would expect him back against Palace. That's huge for us
yeah. It's
to have
massive.
him back in there. But I tell you what, it always seems to be Crystal Palace associated with our relegation threats, doesn't it? And then Brentford with can Mopay play against us, or is he on loan there?
He's on loan, so we can't.
I can't play. Thankfully
Yeah,
not, 'cause he scored. He
banging
scored,
him in.
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he scored 4 now.
Great finish as well.
Yeah,
Um, that'd be a typical Everton thing if he was allowed to play, wouldn't it? That he sends us down.
yeah. We got some gentleman's agreement. Oh yeah, he can play. It's fine. He's shite.
Exactly. I mean, I hate to say it, but there's not too much to take from that. That's either the criticism or a positive.
Yeah,
You're just cracking with things now. It's nothing you should be really negative about, and that's just who we are these days. You can't go away to a side like Man City and think, "Oh, I'm absolutely devastated. We didn't get a result there."
yeah,
This type of thing we've spoken about in what just over half an hour now has been a general chat about what certain players did, what certain players could have done better. But in general, it's what you can stop City from doing. And by and large, I thought we were fine with that for most of that game. So it's hard to overly criticise anybody on that pitch today.
yeah. I think the takeaway for me is it's like those games don't define our season at all.
No.
It's beating the teams around us as ever. That's what you need to do. You need to
Yeah.
look at the other 14, basically, don't you? Now, we've done well against Spurs in both games, so we
Yeah.
have got the capability to play well against decent sides, and we will do. I just think City are on another planet, and
Yeah.
they just are. They're not a good side. They are a great side.
Yeah.
So I think to hold them off for 71 minutes without even a shot on target, that's good going. And I think that's what we've got to take from this game. Now that the defence does look really good and can handle itself. Just need a little bit more going forward. And it's, I don't know, just all eyes on Palace now, isn't it? Who seem to be in a lot of bother with injuries and stuff themselves. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's 7 games today, isn't it? They'll have kicked off 20 minutes ago. I'm not sure what the scores are at the moment, but I think we need a few to fall our way as well, don't we?
yep.
And then, then we've got the slick more to come, haven't we, in the coming week? The images of that fella, it's
let's
just
not
don't
go.
even know what's going
Let's not go into that.
on.
Right. We'll
He's
leave
not,
it there then.
not even
What have we got
across
coming up this
the
week?
ways.
We'll have a preview for Palace. We'll have old New Borough Blues back. Should have Gav Buckland on for that one. Looking forward to that. Mailbag will be back next week as well. Usual weekly, subs
Yeah.
weekly. So yeah, there's lots coming up this week.
Monday on Monday, the 2 weeklies, all the usual stuff that's available, mate. Loads of it to come. And yeah, let's hope we're talking a little bit more positive towards Palace, which is going to be, like I said, it's huge once again against Crystal Palace, isn't it? So
It is.
might be a bit of a nervous week, but we're there all the way, all the time, mate, aren't we?
Yeah, that's it. And don't feel too despondent. It's a nice sunny day outside. It's not the end of the world. That result, the performance was okay. Just go out and enjoy the rest of the weekend now because there's loads of it left. We'll leave it there then. Cheers, Dave. Thanks to everyone who listened, and we'll catch you in the week. Up the Toffees.